Ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and Margaret Howell is with us. Also, we have Leanne McAdoo, just back from her vacation, visiting with family, and she's here to see this. You're here to see this. We of course, tape the news. Some nights it's live. Much of the news we did tape when this started happening around 5:30 while you guys were taping the news, so that's going to air right when this ends. A lot of key news on other subjects. What is it like for you to see 73 and growing dead, run over by a truck in Nice? Guys shooting people with machine guns, other events happening. Looks like they're trying to cover that up. They said Fort Hood, Major Hassan was a terror attack. It was workplace violence at the San Bernardino, on and on and on. Army, Navy recruiting centers, guys saying Allah Akbar, shooting Philadelphia cops in the head. I mean, this is clearly a global jihad being launched. Saudi Arabia involved. What is it like for you? Because during the break, Facebook mentioned folks saw it, but other people didn't. I've told the story, and folks, I mean, I just tell you like it is. I've never had an anxiety attack in my life. Not being physically attacked, mugged, you name it. I've been out at areas like the Domain and Barton Creek, and I see women in full headdresses covered up with their men dragging around like they're dogs. And I've got my daughters, and I see these men, very aggressively. I mean, you see these Islamic teachers and stuff, it's the same thing, just pointing at my daughters, and I just have a palpable, like a big mean pit bull's growling at you, actual, like, whoa, because it's just sudden. It's a massive invasion. It's globalist run. They've covered up the numbers. First, Leanne McAdoo, watching this in Nice, watching the other attacks, watching them being covered up. What is your visual response to this?
Well, I instantly started crying, of course, because I had the unfortunate experience of watching one of these videos playing on Twitter, and to actually see the aftermath before it was blurred out, before they tell you, oh, it was just a horror.
Because we're a news center. You were watching it right as it happened.
Yeah, so I'm watching it as it's playing out, what we're able to see, what isn't being censored or omitted by the Obama administration because they don't want to offend Muslims, so they don't want to show this. People need to see this. I mean, I believe Kit Daniels brought this up, that they're going to put out videos of police shootings, graphic videos. And why do they do that? To get people upset, to get people pissed, to get people activated to fight against what
Imagine if police just killed 73 people tonight.
With
we'd at least say it was police. They won't even say it's Islam.
Yeah, and then the president comes out, of course, President Obama, and once again, he's like, we are very sorry for what appears to be another horrific terror attack. When will he say radical Islamic terrorism? When we find out what this guy's name is, probably even then they're going to say that he was a French national and,
a Frenchman.
He was just really upset about the Bastille Day or whatever. This is what Islam, this is what it looks like there for 1,400 years. This is what is being taught there. You
were just in Spain. That was invaded and overrun.
Portugal, yes.
Portugal.
Yeah. No, it's, I mean, here's the video. You can see it. It's totally graphic, and
so we're not going to censor this for our viewers.
I'm really sorry for anyone that has to be seeing this, but this is what they don't want you to see. They don't want you to see what is happening to our country.
And these are ultra-liberal French that are just out having a drink at night being murdered.
These are people celebrating Bastille Day, watching fireworks out with their families. There's children, the bodies of children out there just being plowed through, and then after he drives the truck for a mile he drives this truck through, plowing through these people watching this. Then he jumps out of the truck and starts shooting the rest of the people that are surviving this horrific attack.
And then Hollande will get up and act like a hero, and he's the one that is allowing all this.
Right, and it was
well, you know what? They're like 30% Islamic now, and they say at that point it's over. They know they can't deport the people. It's over, man. It's either kill or be killed, and I think France will bend over and take it. I think they'll convert.
Right, but you're not going to have a lot of people who haven't assimilated into the French culture out celebrating Bastille Day.
Why the hell would you leave the Middle East and want to overthrow France?
Right.
I mean, the food, the culture, why would you want to overthrow that?
Right. And it would have been a lot worse than what we are seeing here, because they actually, the truck was filled with guns and grenades, probably shipped in, accidentally dropped to them by the West. So
wow, Leanne, powerful response there. Wow.
Alex, real quick on an update. It looks like there's 77 people dead, 50 injured right now. So 127 people affected by the religion of peace right now. We just showed that graphic video. That is very
I want to talk to Margaret Howell about this, one of our great new reporters here, investigative journalist, who's worked at some of the biggest news agencies in the world. I want to get her unfiltered take, because other places she worked before, they totally controlled everything she could say. I want to point out, I have no idea what she's about to say. This is just all honest response here. But no, come back, dude. Come back, because you're our news director here, and you're the guy that literally, it works for me so many nights at like 8 or 9 at night. You even bring your kids up to the office when we work together to try to fight this tyranny, because we understand desperately that it isn't just Islam. It's this globalist program, and we understand, we physically feel. You and I talk about this.
Yeah.
I say, I feel bad you're at my house at 9 o'clock, or I feel bad you're here at 8 working. And you're like, hey, these are my kids.
We don't have a choice. We don't have a choice.
I mean, what is it like for you to see this? I mean, what is it like to be called an Islamophobe and a right-winger when, to me, you're like a real liberal? I mean, you're a reggae guy, jazz band guy, anti-drug war, anti-police state. What's it like for you to go out to these rallies and be called a racist?
Well, it's really disturbing, because I'm definitely anti-police brutality and when the police go too far, and militarized police in general. But what we have going on now is a complete turnaround of that paradigm of where we did have legitimate beefs with how the police were working. I think we were making headroads into that. Now all that's gone.
We don't want to shoot them in the back of the head.
Right. And, I've been arrested just for shooting video in Pittsburgh. So I've seen what happens. I've had the sound cannons turned on me. I've been shot with tear gas.
We've seen cops beat women on bicycles, and when they do it, we call for their arrest.
Exactly.
Just like jihadis.
Exactly.
Right.
But like you said, Alex, we don't really have a choice in this matter not to do anything. The time for thinking about acting is gone. We have to act, and that's why we're going to the RNC. I was up till 4 a.m. last night. I just could not go to sleep, and I don't know if it was a premonition of this or just like of thinking about what's going to go on at the RNC. They had 100,000 protesters in New York 4 years ago. I think we're going to have triple that. 300,000 people in a smaller area with not as much infrastructure. You have a 3-hour meeting with the head of Black Lives Matter at the White House. Who gets a 3-hour meeting with the president?
Nobody. They're planning something big.
Unless they're planning something
we'll be there. Hey, it's like they say, if this is true, don't let him escape. Escape is not our plan.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to be there.
Exactly. We're going to be there.
Yeah.
So go ahead and get Margaret's take on this. I'm going to go check on a few other things.
We got time. We're live. Huge audience. Right now, this is what it's all about. Any other points, Paul? Paul Watson chimed in earlier. Any other points, dude?
Well, I think at this point, France has no choice but to take action at this point. They have to really start checking their borders. I think sealing their borders at this point, and not letting anybody in. They have to take the families and the support networks that are involved. Yeah. And they have to prosecute them and throw their ass under the jail. They used to take Frenchmen 200 years ago, 150 years ago, who stole a loaf of bread, famously, and put them on Devil's Island. Okay, that was wrong. So we have this liberal reform against that. Fine. Throw their ass on a desert island, man. 127 people now have been affected by this. Some of these 50 that are injured might not make it.
Yeah, what about their rights, okay? Right. Don't be run over by some nut.
And they were celebrating their revolution, which wasn't a very good revolution. It was a lot different than the American Revolution. It was very bloody. The point is, though, they're attacking them on their day. They're announcing we've taken over. Great points, exactly.
Rob. Can you believe that Facebook won't let us say Islamic terror?
Well, that, cutting communication, of course, is a tactic used in war. And this is a war. And that's a tactic that they use.
I know. Go ahead, Leanne. That's a great point. We are literally, okay, then let me ask you this question. I don't want to go to Margaret because she's sitting there politely waiting. But this is a great brainstorm. I want to ask Margaret this question, too. It is war. With the major mega banks, with the big media that helped fund the Arab Spring, Facebook helped run it, and they won't let us point out the word it is. I watch the news, they won't say it. It's a war. Who's running it?
The president won't say it. Hillary Clinton refuses to say it until they forced her hand the other day, but even then she came right out and said, but they're not the enemy. Oh, it is a tactic used in war, just like we're seeing with these communication outages across the country on tomorrow, the Day of Rage, that they're going to be shutting down all of these power outages with Comcast and things like that in the cities where it just so happens these things are going on.
Yeah, they're testing the internet kill switch. I mean, this is a test at martial law.
No, this is.
I'm like 50 times my spidey senses ever. I'm just like, What do you think's going on, Margaret?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, they're not reporting the real numbers. They're sanitizing the photographs. We're not supposed to see anything. I've been on the ground of suicide bombings. I know what this looks like, and I can't help it. I'm just tearing up for these people because I can only imagine it just breaks my heart. It makes me so angry.
They're being dehumanized. So we can't.
It's exactly, and I'm sorry to cut you out. There's a Trojan horse aspect to this. They're through the gate. I'm a political scientist. I've studied this stuff for 9 years. In my opinion, it's over for them. There's no recourse. There's no revolutionary period.
France is falling.
France is done. And my question is, if they're not reporting the real numbers here, at what point are we where France was 5 years ago, 6 years ago?
They covered it up.
At what point are they going to actually start pulling in these real numbers? You're absolutely right. You go to the mall. That scares the hell out of me. I hate seeing that. It's everywhere. I come from a tiny town in Kentucky, and we have 4 huge mosques. Where do they come from? You tell me. I'm so sorry. This makes me so emotional because I know what these people are dealing with. I've been on the ground of this stuff, and I hate it. I hate to see it.
Tell folks where you've been, because you've worked for big U.S.
I flew on New Year's Eve a few years ago to cover a suicide bomber. I got on the ground, and you could smell the stench of those bodies, and I'm so sick of this shit. I'm sorry. I told my mom I'm not going to cuss anymore. I promised my mom I wouldn't do that anymore, but my point is, this makes me so angry, and the only thing that's worse than what's happening right now is the fact that we're going to have these apologists get on social media and tell us that Islam is not our adversary. I am so sick of this. I mean, I'm sorry I'm yelling. I'm catching.
No, it's true. But tell folks, because you've worked for U.S. corporations, you've worked for RT, and you've been there when this is going on.
I've been in Muslim countries where I'm afraid to show my hair. Do we want this here? That's my question. I'm a simple person. I just wanted to be educated.
Why does Gloria Steinem support this?
I mean, do we really want to get to a place where we're afraid to go out in public and show our hair and our arms? No. I mean, honestly, that's where we are. That's where we are. I'm sorry. That's where we are. And the Trojan horse is through the gate. Well,
I'm a bigot because I'm all for you showing your arms. So that's horrible. No, I mean, it is sick. Leanne, I love the fact she's on fire. Isn't that awesome?
No, yeah.
That's resistance. And look, what's scary is Fox will hardly cover it. And they're the controlled right-wing BS. The other channels won't even cover what's happening. It's really a weird feeling. You know, we're reaching millions of people right now. And in the aggregate, even more than that. It's crazy, though, that to know we're one of the only, I don't want to be one of the only outposts resisting this. Why aren't other people awake, Margaret?
They are controlled by a Marxist puppet master. I was looking at comments that Soros said. He admitted the involvement in the migrant crisis, and he said natural borders are a problem. So we've been conditioned and dumbed down and dumbed down. We've been made to feel like we're bigots and we're racist. God forbid you should stand up and say, this is wrong. You know, if you have any guts, you are I've been called every single name online. I'm so tired of it. But I'm telling you, there's a louder voice. When you go into a hospital room where you've seen somebody who survived a suicide bombing, just barely, your thought process begins to change a little bit here. I'm not apologizing for these bastards. I'm not getting online, and we have to call this for what it is. That's a major weapon in this fight.
I just don't get how the left says, don't say you want brownies, it's racist, to create all this racist garbage so we don't get along. And then, and you know, don't have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or don't have a Halloween party. But then they love Islam. I just don't get it.
Right. Well, I really, truly think it's demonic. I mean, that's the only cover-up that you have these people on the far end of this, the radical Islamists. They truly believe this is end of days for them. And they take their religion very seriously.
Well, that's what the cop killer in Dallas said. This is the end of the world.
Right.
This is the end.
And their book, you know, their book tells them, kill the infidel. It's telling them to go.
So here's what I'm saying. Why doesn't he kick the ass of the arrogant cop that's out of line and risk his life there? I mean, I get it. I've gotten arrested. I've gotten in bad cops' faces. I mean, I can't stand arrogant thugs in a badge and a gun. That's just a criminal. I mean, I've literally been arrested many times. I've been sued. I've been beat up. I mean, I don't like thug cops, but you don't just go shoot some cop pumping gas because some cop was an asshole to you 6 months ago. I mean, whatever happened to going after who did it to you?
Right.
You know, I don't understand this thing where, oh, well, a cop shot somebody in Minnesota, so let's go shoot some cops in Dallas, you know.
Right. One of the best police departments that's actually been working on reform. Let's go after the department.
I'm about to say super liberal. The mayor's like a social justice warrior. Well, that's another question. Why does the Islamicists and Black Lives Matter and other groups tend to attack people that kiss their butt?
I don't know. It's like they see that you have the little bit of weakness there, and so they latch onto it. They see, oh, well, you're buying into this BS that I'm spewing, so I'm going to go ahead and turn you all the way.
Well, it's all a war against humanity. It's all divide and conquer. Joe Biggs is popping in. I see he's there in front of George Washington. There, if you're watching us on TV, radio listeners, Infowars.com/show for all the free feeds. Joe, what is your view on all this?
Well, we're being told that our biggest threat here in America is local law enforcement. And the fact that you could be killed by local law enforcement and gunned down for just walking down the road. But let's talk about the real threat in the world.
They shoot 980 people a year.
Let me give you the list of Islamic terror attacks in 2015 alone. 2,867, which left 27,653 people killed. 26,150 were injured. Now let's go over the last 30 days from the religion of peace. 189 Islamic attacks in 31 countries, in which 1,494 people were killed and 1,869 people were injured. And yet we're told to worry about the police when we have open borders. We have a president could care less. He's allowing these people to come in.
Cops kill total less than 1,000 people a year. I don't like some of the arrogance. I don't like the checkpoints. I don't like the revenue generation. That's all the Fed. I don't like the TSA. I'm the guy that attacked. We wrote the book on it. But it's the Congress that did it. Blame the kingpins, not the minions, Joe. Exactly. And so it's a total red herring. Why is our enemy media run by globalists that suppress the cancer treatments, that are trying to suppress our vitamins, that are trying to suppress our families? Our known enemy tells us hate the local government, because they're going to bully the local government into capitulating, Leanne.
And they want to do away with the police force here so they can bring in the UN.
Which they're now saying the UN runs this. Listen, I knew this was coming, but to see it happening, I'm literally in the twilight zone. Leanne, what is it like for you? You've been here 4 years. You already were so smart when you got here, UT degree, TV shows, you name it. But what is it like for you to actually live this and be immersed in it?
Honestly, I just feel like we're almost speaking it into being. And so what can we do to speak a different reality into being, to help people wake up to this? You know, I think Margaret nailed it.
Yeah, we don't want anybody to die, not Muslims.
We need to call this what it is so that we can identify the problem instead of allowing all the darkness to just take over.
You just said it, though. They won't let us speak it.
Right.
Yeah, you dare not say radical Islam. Dare not say radical Muslim. Dare not say that there's a problem with that happening right now, because it could be offensive. Meanwhile, people who would rather be offended are being mowed down. People are being killed. They're being driven over. They're being shot. They're being blown up. You ban the guns. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to build IEDs in the roads like they did in Fallujah. You ban guns. Guess what's going to happen? More car bombs, like a car bomb that went off today in Nevada, which I have a special report on as well. There's a lot of crazy things happening.
Oh, they cover it up. I've talked to people. There's attacks on power plants, nuke plants. All over. I mean, I'll tell you, Islam is on the march right now. But let's talk geopolitically, Margaret and Leanne and Joe and whoever else wants to pop in here from the crew. Just come to the mic. The larger globalist program is using Islam, Orthodox Islam, Saudi Arabian, Sunni, Wahhabi stuff to create destabilization. But there is an evil above that that's against all of humanity, including the average Muslim, who I don't think is a bad person. They're oppressed in a cult system, and we want to free them. We're all just humans with souls. What do you think the larger plan is, though, as this goes into high gear?
Well, I think that there's a dark, sinister force that understands the nature of this radical demon, first of all. And I think that it is manipulating it in a way. And you pointed out that, and I want to stress that too, because I've known really great people and they happen to be Muslim. We're talking about, if you look at numbers here, so radical Islam, those who practice radical Islam, it's only about 25%. That's what they're saying. Well, if there are 1 billion Muslims in the world and 25% of them are radicalized, that's more than our population. So we have a serious problem with
it's hundreds of millions.
Oh my God! So we've got a problem. That's our first thing. This dark, sinister force.
And that's who admits. Now they're up to 36%. 3%. As they get more confident, it's 10, 20, 30. It's like it's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Think about the term 3%er though. 3% of those people stood up, and we came here to America. So you're telling me 25% are radical? That's way more.
3%
That's a lot of
founded
people.
America and kicked the crown's ass.
So
and
with
that wasn't
25% radical Islam, that is out of control. That's a lot of people. And then you looked at the numbers.
Islam
that Paul
is only probing, though. It's just like a kaiju attack, to use that analogy of that cheesy movie. But it's true. Every attack's double. They're only probing in these first attacks, Joe. You experienced that in the Middle East, right?
Yeah, that's what they always do. They always want to find weak points. And the weak points are these pray for Nice, pray for Paris, pray for this and that. Praying for somebody's not going to bring them back. Changing your profile picture is not going to bring back the dead. No, what you've done is you've taken the right away from the people to defend themselves, and now they are soft targets.
I want to say
and
that.
the radical Islamists
leftists
see
that are allied with Islam and the globalists, you literally have aided and abetted these new murders. And I'm fighting to stop the drone attacks. I'm fighting to stop the wars. Our wars are to take out the Muslim groups that aren't radical.
Right.
Again, Margaret,
Yeah,
Leanne?
that's absolutely right. So just taking this back to this, I can't leave you with this enough. So the Trojan horse aspect, I care about our country. I care about our civilization. I want to make sure that people within the sound of my voice understand that this is still within their power. And it's the understanding of what we're doing, what we're facing, and calling out this bullshit government for what it is and saying, you're not going to do this. You're not going to dump 2,000, 3,000 people in my community, not vetted, give them all of food stamp cards, put them up in housing, and then wait a couple of years and let's see this happen over and over and over and over. And people really need to take a stand and stand on their own ground and say, you are not doing this to our town. I think that's where I want to go with that, because honestly, it comes down to people saying no. You just have to.
Some German towns have like 100 people. They'll put 700 migrants in them.
Yeah. And let them totally take over the town.
And I literally see a free woman walking around and
Get
just
people out of their own homes and say,
There's
we need to make room for all
5,000
these
Syrian
refugees we're
refugees
bringing
in
in.
Philadelphia. It's out of control. There's tons of camps all over Amarillo.
Meanwhile, the State
Syrian.
Department saying no 10,000, no 20,000. It's just such a masked lie.
And the president was
What
so
the hell?
proud in September, tweeting out, well, we're going to be increasing the number of refugees we admit to the U.S. to 100,000 per year.
And again,
And that's
remember
just
2-3
what
years
they tell
ago,
you.
they said Germany was 100,000, was over 1 million.
Right.
They're all, it's the same scam, Joe.
We were
Joe,
laughed at when we were covering stuff at the border, talking about how prayer rugs were found.
Yeah.
And, all these different books, Korans and things like that. Like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. These kind of people aren't coming over.
Well, let me ask you
they're
this
coming
question
over by
then,
the
Joe.
southern border. They're coming
Why
over
do you
at force.
think Republican leadership with Obama is doing this? What's their end game?
They want more power. They want more money. A lot of these guys are in bed with Obama. A lot of them are allowing it. A lot of them want to keep their power. We have money in war. The more times we fight, the more war we have, the more fear we have, the more the Republican Party makes, the more that Obama makes. These people are all in bed together. Hopefully we can get someone like Donald Trump to stand up, rise up, and defeat the enemy and call it what it is. Because you know what? Radical Islam exists. I've said it. I will say it again, and I will die saying it. It exists.
Let's go further. There was a time, even a few years ago, I wouldn't even say radical Islam, because I was just trying to make everybody work together, and I don't want to go down this route. But this is clearly the globalist plan now. This is Orthodox Islam. This is what Saudi Arabia has done. It's what the globalists have done. This is taking Islam over. Whatever it was before. This is it. And it's here, and it's being brought in, and I'm not going to put a bag over my daughter's heads.
And we have people in America who are proudly going out, waving communist flags, burning the American flag, spitting on freedom, attacking liberty-loving Americans
And for all
because they
America's
love the
evils, do
Constitution.
they realize how hellish communist countries are?
Oh, they have no idea. And they need to be given a one-way ticket there just to go take a little vacation.
Communists,
check it out.
exactly, can't ever even make cars.
Right.
The Venezuelan government is in charge of food now. They just talked about that
The
today.
military,
the
right.
military and the government is over the food rations now in Venezuela.
And everything's collapsing.
That's what they want. They want that here in America.
And Bernie said Venezuela's the model, Margaret.
Oh, man. Well, speaking of a communist country, I lived in Russia myself, and they regulate. If they think that a group is a threat, they regulate them. They control them by putting into areas. It's not the, they will accept, for example, I lived in Moscow. They would have Muslim areas, but they wouldn't allow them to put up mosques everywhere. They were very restricted, very contained. We don't do that. We've got an open policy here, and we're seeing the effects of that. I just want to say this in one point. Back to the burqa issue.
Yeah, take your time. Each one of you, everybody, take your time.
I really feel for these women, and I don't mean to attack. I think that they're victimized by that stupid burqa. I think that it's such a victimization.
Well, there's Stockholm syndrome. A lot of them will say, oh, I want this. Well, yeah, because they kill you when you're a little girl, you need to put it on.
It's just, going back to the point of seeing that at the mall, it just makes me so physically ill. I want to rip it off is what I want to do. I'm so afraid that one of these days I am, and I'm actually.
And the weird, arrogant guy, like, they're always real arrogant, and they dress like real gangster now. They're like, yeah, me. It's just like, ugh.
There's videos of women in Saudi Arabia that are having their heads chopped off for not being covered to a man's liking.
Yeah, he saw
There's
their
no
ankles.
judge and jury. They walk out with a sword. They will stop traffic. The Saudi Arabian police will stop traffic and allow this man to drag his wife or whatever out of the car, pull out a sword, and chop their head off. And that's who Hillary Clinton wants to bring in.
Hillary, who gets her money, and Gloria Steinem to Saudi Arabia.
Well,
We should sign a petition to ship them out of here.
Yeah, let them go check it out. And let's not forget that it was the majority of moderate Muslims who agreed that you can lightly beat your wife, or that beheading is an appropriate response.
What about extremely
to,
spoil them?
Yeah, I mean you sound like an extremist right now. That's the Western civilization that they want to destroy. They want to see beautiful women inside black bags.
We're bringing people in. We're bringing people in and not making them assimilate.
Talk about Saudi Arabia. So you have a lot of people right now, whenever there's a terror attack, they always come out and say, oh, well, white people.
No wonder he wants women to be slaves. You think that son of a bitch can get women? I mean, look at that dumb bastard.
Hideous.
Look at those scumbags. I mean, those are a bunch of freakazoids, man.
That's why they have to take sex slaves.
Aloha snack bar.
Yeah, well, Saudi Arabia, okay, a lot of people right now in response to this attack, they're saying, well, if we're not going to pray for Nice until people pray for the Middle East and stop the empire from going there and destroying these countries. Well, Hillary Clinton, let's not forget that there was a chain of emails going around where she was saying, what a great Christmas present we gave Saudi Arabia during her time there at the State Department, gave them billions of dollars worth of weapons that they then used to go and do all of these airstrikes in Yemen, killing tons of innocent people, attacking hospitals, all these things. So she's funding Saudi Arabia, giving them, they're like one of the largest buyers of weapons that we manufacture here in the U.S.
Sure, not to mention
Paul
Saudi
Joseph
Arabia's
Watson.
invasion of Syria.
Hey, Paul Joseph Watson just tweeted out, he's got some information. The Nice terrorist is a Muslim from Tunisia. Image may shock. That is, or imagine that imagine it might shock. So that's what he just tweeted out. It's
and of course, I was going to guess Tunisia because that's what mainly Tunisia or Morocco if it's France. And they always go, a Frenchman born in Morocco.
I just got in a drive home from the airport from someone from Tunisia.
And again, a lot of these Muslims are actually heretics. They just want to be in freedom.
Right.
So there are a lot of them. I'm going to explain. It's the leaders that are bad. So
look at the Muslims that are here in America that agree with Sharia law, and yet we do not make them assimilate. They hate our ways. They hate what we stand for.
I've seen news articles where the Sharia family sexually mutilated their daughter, but it's okay. And the woman was beaten, but the police were told to stand down because it's their culture.
There was a sergeant first class in the U.S. Army Special Forces who stopped a man who was sexually assaulting this woman's boy. The woman came up to the Special Forces officer who was training and said, hey, my son was raped by one of the police officers that you guys are training over in Afghanistan. And he brought that up. When I was in Afghanistan, we saw that so many times, and we brought that information to the forefront. It was shot down by the State Department. Hillary Clinton released a letter, and I did a report on this a while back, released a letter saying, no, that's not rape. That's part of their culture. These are the kind of ideals that she supports. She supports radical Islam. She supports the rape of these young boys they call the Bachabas. It is out of control.
It is out of control.
We have to assimilate to their culture of rape.
I got to say, the radio show during the day is powerful, but I think this particular, just up here at night, twice being a radio host at night, I love it. Everybody's awake. We're really being real. It's just like, I'm real during the day, but it's like you're kind of the day. It's like, this is like, boom, we're just saying what we really think. I want to get final comments from whoever wants to comment. Margaret, Hal, Leanne McAdoo, Joe Biggs, anybody else in the crew. I don't care if it's Joe Jennings or Allie or whoever's up here at night working, and we're going to air what was going to be the nightly news after that.
Well, I know there was reports initially coming out of Sky News, BBC, saying that this was possibly retaliation for Brexit.
Now it's 80-something dead.
People don't drive trucks for a mile through crowds because of Brexit. There's only one group right now that is causing massive terror on a massive scale. We had people tweeting out, oh, well, Christians are killing people everywhere. No, they're not. No, they're not. Maybe thousands of years ago.
Weirdo leftist, man.
One group, and we have to call it what it is. We have to identify our enemy, and we can't allow them to cut off the communication because we are in an information war.
We got to call it Orthodox Islam. Absolutely. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say that anybody looking at this who might not be a news junkie like we are, it's overwhelming, and I can only imagine you just don't know what to do about all this information. And I just want to say, be encouraged, because we're not where France is. We're not there yet, and we have a hope and a prayer. And honestly, this is not about bashing Muslim people for me. This is about identifying a radical extremist ideology.
Again, we even have to apologize. They just killed more people, and Facebook won't let us say who even did it, and we're even apologizing, which I do too.
It's a cancer that we're talking about here that needs to be uprooted before it takes over the whole body, and that's where we are. There is a Trojan horse that's entering our gates too, and honestly, it just. People, the biggest weapon that you have is not being afraid. I learned that myself. I used to be an apologist. I used to say, just everything. I didn't want to offend anybody, but the honest answer here is you cannot be afraid to confront this, and hopefully that's what we're doing tonight.
You're totally right. And I want to ask all of you this question on Joe Biggs. Is there any level of murder that the controlled left won't defend from Islam? Because it's like cult-like. I mean, I never really even bashed Islam because I was just trying to stop the destabilization. I was just trying to stop the globalist takeover to turn it into a weapon. They had like major movies. Who's the guy that does like Portlandia and all that? What's that famous comedian's name?
Not sure.
David Cross, I think. He has like
David Cross, yeah.
movies where it goes, Alex Jones is an evil Islamophobe. And it's like, and he hates women. They always go, he hates women and Muslims. Like Muslims protect women. And it's like, and I pick up on this and I'm like, you know what? You're telling me that like you're afraid I'm going to do it. Let me look, it's just so weird. So is there any level? Because like, these German ministers and others get raped by Muslims. They blame it on Germans and admit that later. Is there nothing they won't put up with, Margaret?
In answer to your question, is there nothing they won't put up with? No, of course not. You can be raped in the streets. Your children can, God knows what. No, there's no level, and until there is that honesty, and you're absolutely right. It's an honesty. You've got to be honest with yourself and step out from behind the shadow. And it's a tough thing to do. And I commend anybody who does it. But if you take a stand against this, I'm just going to tell you, you're going to be labeled as a racist, as a bigot, as an Islamophobic. You're going to be outcast and shunned. But honestly,
well, I think it's good to be outcast from people that do this.
I mean, it is a do or die moment. That's what this is.
Yeah, we got to break with the brainwashing. Because you're right, it's a cognitive dissonance point of learned helplessness, the Overton window, mass Stockholm syndrome.
Right.
Because where it's just like, if you accept this, there's nothing you won't put up with.
Right. Well, we're seeing that in Sweden, Germany, these other places where women are getting raped, children are getting raped, but it is happening here now. Was it in Ohio where the young girl was raped by young boys and they're telling you, don't talk about it, or we're putting you in jail for daring to speak out about this. So it's already beginning to creep here where they are telling us that we have to, don't offend the Muslims, don't offend this community, assimilate, this is their culture. No, this is our culture. This is our country.
Hands off Wonder Woman.
Here. And you're absolutely right. Like, we aren't there yet. We do have time to fight back against this. And it's time to stop being...
That was awesome.
What is it like, though? I mean, what is it like for you to see all the so-called leftist women that supposedly represent women defending this? Is that frustrating? Well,
one of the things that's kind of infuriating about Twitter, but I'm taking notes from Watson, and I'm just going for it rather than holding back. But if one person tweets out hashtag not all Muslims, like as soon as a terror attack, it's like, obviously, if it was all Muslims, we'd all be dead because there's billion Muslims, and we get that. But we need to understand that
billion, 300 million.
Yeah, I mean, this is a real issue. This is happening here. It's creeping into this country. These are people who want to kill you. They want to rape your children. They want to rape your wives, your daughters. They do not care. And this is coming. It doesn't matter.
It's a warlike cult where they indoctrinate from birth and then sleeper cell. Exactly. I'm just done. And then I'm blamed as I'm mean because I don't want them throwing gays off buildings.
Yeah, and
we shouldn't have to apologize every 2 seconds. We shouldn't have to apologize every time there's an attack and go, well, not all Muslims. Well, obviously not all Muslims, like was just said a second ago.
But it's Islam doing it.
But it's okay for us to say there's radical Islam. We should be able to say that. If some white guy goes on a killing rampage, guess what? That guy is an idiot.
Well, let's
but I'm not going to be offended by it when the news comes out and goes, a white guy went into a theater and killed everybody. I'm not going to be offended by that because it's not me. I'm an individual.
It's directed by the House of Saud with the globalists in a larger destabilization program. We have to stop it. We have to shut it off. We have to say most of these people don't have jobs. They're getting put on welfare. No, 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 you're not coming in. All right. We're going to go now here in just a few minutes to parts of the news that were taped at 5:30 when this all broke. I want to thank the crew for working so hard, but I know it's not hard to get you to do it. You're passionate. You're true classical Americana, Renaissance, Enlightenment liberals, which means more freedom for everybody, more tolerance, more openness, more language, more debate. And I want to thank Joe. I want to thank all the rest of the great crew, people behind the scenes nobody ever sees that make this possible. I'm going to go home and try to put my kids to bed and then get up at 7 in the morning and work out and do research and come up here and do the show again. But we're going to have all you again, I think, tomorrow back on the broadcast as well. We got Trump suspending his VP pick and so much more. Let's get 1 minute from each person that wants to pop in, and then we're done. Joe Biggs?
Just wake up. You know, this is happening by design. The borders are open for a reason. We see this happening, unfolding. You've been calling it for years, and it is now in fruition. It's now happening. So wake up. This is the plan they want. They want to destabilize America because it's the biggest threat to this world government while the entire world is collapsing to install a one world government and bring in the UN.
And they're officially saying it. It's no longer even our opinion. I can't believe it. I'm actually pinching myself on a daily basis, Margaret.
I want to leave this on a comical note. You know, any women listening to this, Do It for Denmark comes to mind, and we're being outbred. We're being outbred in our own civilization, and I loved your culture war speech just now, and perhaps we could take this back if we could just try to start outnumbering, and I think maybe that's the direction we should
We're going to
take.
go make some
I'd be all happy to have a bunch of brown people that were libertarians and patriots. The thing is, it's just the globalists are funding this to bring down everything. Leanne?
I agree. I think we have enough time to turn this around. And, you know, if it is
I was speaking of the
making some
Christians, I don't
babies
care
out
what
there, or, you know, going, building
Making
up
some
our
babies.
own civilization and not being afraid to say, this is our culture. This is the Western civilization is great. We have done so many wonderful things. Stop making them force you to apologize because they bring up false tactics and false things from hundreds of years ago when every single country that is around was created on conquest and slavery.
Exactly.
It's not just the United States of America, the greatest nation ever.
And the Muslim orthodoxy of Saudi Arabia is like the most Stone Age crap ever. I mean, it's just crazy. All right, great.
That's who I was talking about outbreeding, just really quickly.
Yes.
That's who we need to outbreed. Forgive me for interrupting. I just want to.
No, you're right. Here's the deal. Whether it's Japan or whether it's any advanced civilization, Italy, I want the Italians to go away. They're all not having kids. They're all dying.
No, and that's something that the imams
brag about.
They brag about, and they talk about that being something that they.
Yeah, I'm not getting any cool cars or sunglasses from Saudi Arabia.
This is a long-term war for them. This is a long-term war for them,
That's
okay?
right.
This is a holy war for them, and they are taking the long route there. They're playing chess.
Yeah, they believe they're getting dominion, and it's a bunch of guys in, like, Santa Claus outfits, like, with women chained up. Man, is that really who humans are?
No.
I mean, how the hell did slave-trading Bedouins end up ruling this religion and taking over? And the truth is, they're just long-term, they're deceptive, and they're not giving up, and we're not giving up. They teach, when I was in school, that the Crusades were this evil, horrible thing. And I'm like, excuse me, I remember in high school, the Crusades were launched after 500 years of Islamic invasion when they almost took Rome, they almost took Krakow in Poland. I mean, we almost lost everything. They're like, yeah. But it was evil to fight back against that. I'm like,
Right.
why are you teaching that? Well, I mean, it's like, it's good that Constantinople fell, Alex. The freedom will soon be here. And they're just like, okay, are you a Muslim? No, but I'm a leftist. And there'll soon be freedom. And it's like, I guess they think they're going to get a slave dungeon or something. I don't know.
I don't know. Well, that's the prophecy that they're wanting to see fulfilled. Is that is?
Well, it's not going to happen. Ladies and the rest of the crew, I'm sorry they're not wearing burgers. You can go right to hell. That's what I have to say to all that. To all of you out there that don't like what we're saying, if it's so bad, get the hell out. In the past decade, we have witnessed unparalleled scientific discoveries in the area of health. But no one has put together a formula that focuses directly on brain health, nerve growth factors, and optimizing your cellular energy at the same time. DNA Force is one of the most expensive formulas to produce. Some of the ingredients in DNA Force are $12,000 a kilogram. We are using the coveted, patented, only American source of PQQ, CoQ10, and more. You want the best that's out there at the lowest price anywhere? Well, we're bringing you a total win-win. The ultimate value, cutting-edge, trailblazing game changer that also supports the InfoWar. We have produced a limited run of DNA Force, and it will take up to 12 weeks to produce more once we sell out. Secure your DNA Force today at InfoWarsLife.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. DNA Force from InfoWars Life.